Great day, everyone. Jereshia Hawk here. Today we are rolling into episode 7 of the Jereshia Said Show. And we're going to be talking about how long does it really take to become a six-figure success. This is something that I think some of us can be skewed by what the process really is for us to be able to grow and to develop into our purpose. We see the highlight reels of everybody else on Instagram and Facebook, and just through different marketing campaigns and tools. And it can be a little bit misleading in regards to how long our journey should be taking or feels like it should be taking in order for us to actually reach that six-figure and beyond success that we desire to have. So I wanted to not only share my background and give you guys a very transparent look at how long it took me to get to six figures, but also share some other data and statistics around what it takes to really get to that six-figure and beyond mark, just period in life, regardless if it's you building a business or going through it a corporate route, or whatever the case may be, just to one, help you realign your expectations about where you're currently at in your journey and where you want to go, but also just to shed light on really what's required for you to what's required of you and for you to do in order for you to actually get what you truly desire on the back end. And I also am going to be pointing out some key things that personally allowed me to accelerate my process, meaning that it may take some people 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to get to said destination, but there are things that you can do to accelerate your process and accelerate your journey to getting to wherever your said destination is. So as you guys are popping on and hopping in the comments, I'm curious to know, for those who have had a business or have a business now, one, how long have you been operating your business? Or if you don't have a business yet, how long have you been thinking about starting your business or launching your business? I want to just get an understanding of just kind of where everybody's at. So, hey, Latoya. Hi, Micah, Jennifer, Casey, Anita. Hello, hello. So pop in the comments and let me know, one, how long have you been in business? And if you have not yet started your business, but you want to start a business, how long have you been thinking about starting your business or like in preparation to launch your business? So the thing that I want to start off with while you guys are answering those questions is I want to just give you guys some data. And I got this from Business Insider about how long does it typically take for a self-made individual to get to $1 million mark. And the reason why I say $1 million is because I know a lot of us here have aspirations of building that seven-figure business, and I want to talk on both ends of that spectrum. But it typically takes self-made a millionaire at least 32 years to get rich. And I want to give you guys some statistics just so everybody here has like an understanding, because based off of maybe where your age is at, this might give you some comfort and reassurance. So this is just some data real quick. So 70% of the wealthy, okay, in America, what we call are actually self-made millionaires. So they came from non-wealthy households. 31% of some of the most wealthy individuals in America. So out of that 76%, most came from non-wealthy households. 31% of them came from poor households, and 45% of them came from middle-class households. So I think some people have the misconception sometimes that in order for you to generate wealth or build wealth, you need to first come from wealth. And 76% of the wealthy, that was not true for them. And that gives me some peace and reassurance, because how I grew up, I did not come from a wealthy family. You know, my mom left when I was 2. She did not have a high school education. She didn't graduate from high school. My dad left when I was around middle school age. He graduated high school but never went on to college. Like, they both worked like salary, hourly, like, type of minimum wage, I would guess like you would call it, esque jobs. You know, what I knew about my mother, she worked at like gas stations and 7-Elevens. My dad would work 2 or 3 jobs, working overtime, and still be broke at the end of the month. So that was what I knew to be true when it comes to money and wealth and like income. My grandmother and aunt raised me, and they, on the other hand, were a little bit different. My grandmother had a college education. She was an educator. But my aunt, she was in sales, which I think also where I get a lot of my hustle from. So they did pretty well off. Like we were able to live a pretty comfortable, like I'd say like lower middle class lifestyle. So even though we lived in like a really pristine suburb, which exposed me to what wealth could look like, that was not what happened in my household. So most of my family came from low income, lived paycheck to paycheck, never taught me anything about wealth management, about anything. Like, you know, I know I've talked with some of like I think I was talking to Jordan and we were talking about like trust funds, and we talked about that in the previous Facebook Live. But like the only thing that's going to be left down to me is like, I'm just praying that I don't have to pay for people's funerals when people die. Like that, there's nothing that's going to be trickled down to me. Maybe a Louis Vuitton bag or somebody's fur coat. Cause y'all know it is Detroit. Everybody got a fur, but like, so that gave me some reassurance. So 76% of the most wealthy individuals in the United States came from non-wealthy households. So you might be the individual now that is going to be the one that's going to be pivoting your generational impact. You might be you starting the business that you're desiring to build, you being the one that has aspirations from growing this business and really evolving into like what your purpose may be and what your calling is. You might be the one that changes the trajectory for your family for the next generations to come. So recognize that when you are building a business, and understand what type of business are you trying to build. Like people say, what is the quickest way to get wealthy? Is the quickest way for you to get wealthy is to build your own business. Why? Because you have control and freedom and flexibility in the sense that you have control over building that thing. Versus, I know some people will say invest in the stock market. The stock market like is not a business for you to be investing in. And I know people will say about like, what's his name? I can't even remember the guy's name. He's like one of the wealthiest individuals in the world, but he invest in the stock market, but his business is investing in publicly traded companies. There is a difference between just putting your money in the stock market versus having a business centered and built around investing in publicly traded companies. So I'm getting a little bit derailed, but I want you guys to understand that like you building your business can be and is a vehicle for you to actually have generational impact, but for you to actually change the trajectory of like your wealth story, your money story, what is true for you, true for your family, current state, and true for the family that is to come. So some other data that I think is really interesting, that 1% become wealthy before the age of 40. 1% become wealthy before the age of 40. So everybody who's on here, I know most of my audience is under 40 years old, but 1% actually become wealthy before the age of 40. 3% become wealthy between the age of 40 and 45. 16% become wealthy between the age of 46 and 50. Do you guys understand like what I am saying right now? So for a lot of us who are in our 20s, who are in our 30s, who are in our 40s, and they're saying like, I haven't made it yet. Like that's actually normal. Like that's normal. Like it's not like it's absurd or like you're off course or off track. In fact, 80% of the self-made millionaires did not become wealthy until after the age of 50. So I'm just saying all this to say, one, to realign your expectations around where you're currently at and where you think you should be versus just what the data and what the numbers show of what is true for those in the United States. Thank you, Kelly. So let me pop in the comments and see. So I had asked a question earlier, how long have you been in business? And if you have not started your business yet, how long have you been thinking about building and starting your business? So Micah said she just started, she's in year 3. So she's been building for 2 years. She's walking into year 3. Asia said, I've been operating for a year now. Sales are down and I'm not actually making much currently. Asia, that's actually extremely normal. Latoya, she's in year 3 as well. Naisha, she said she's in month 1. Jeremy said just getting started. Like, so one thing that you guys have to understand, when you look at the landscape of small businesses in the United States, most businesses do not turn a profit until year 2, meaning that in year 1 and in year 2, like they are earning no income. And I think a lot of individuals get really discouraged by the fact that like, if I built this business and it's not making me any money, it's a failure. And like, there's things that you need to be strategically thinking through, because yes, you may be walking down a path where like you lack strategy or you lack the knowledge to actually build whatever it is that you're building. But most businesses do not turn a profit until year 2. And I think a brand that a lot of us are probably familiar with, like Travel Noir. Is anybody familiar with the brand Travel Noir? I was at a retreat in January, and it was so awesome to have Zim there, the founder of Travel Noir, and she was speaking about how they grew their business. For the first 2 years, they did not make a dime. Like, they did not start earning a profit until after year 2. So, and that was like part of their strategy though as well, but they literally did not make any money the first 2 years in business. And I want you to think about any of the brands or the businesses that you look up to, like go see how long did it take them to actually generate income. Because I think a lot of us are creating businesses with unaligned and misaligned expectations of what the results are going to be. And so many of us are not actually equipping ourselves with the right resources to actually set ourselves up for that rapid transformation and that rapid success, if that's what we desire. So and I'm just giving you guys some background on that. Another really successful online entrepreneur that you guys might be familiar with is Remi Sethi. He's the author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich. He has a very, very popular blog. He's author, like I mentioned before, and really like a finance guru, like in the online space. But one thing that he even pointed out that I really, really resonate with, he said most successful people take 10 years to succeed overnight. You know, like it took him 10 years before they hit their first $5 million a week or whatever. And it's like things take time to grow and build. And I know Jordan and I were talking about this even this morning. When we think about the online entrepreneurs that we look up to, like the Melissa Griffin, it took her 5 years about roughly before she hit that first $1 million mark. You think about the Amy Porterfields, the Marie Forleos, the James Wedmores, the Caitlin Batchers, the I can't even think of anybody else's name right now. Like any of these online entrepreneurs, like really go dig into their journey. Most of these individuals took multiple years of building a blog, barely making income, like really not generating much revenue before they hit that sweet spot before they took off. And like recent examples that I'm aware of, like Caitlin Batcher, I know she shared this, like she's at the $1 million mark now in her business, but she's been building for multiple years before she saw that. Same thing with Melissa Griffin, like Pinfinite Growth. She talks about how she made $1 million in 18 months off of that one product. And that is I think, a true statement for so many in this industry. But you have to also think about how long were they in business before that 18-month time frame to $1 million started. They had been in business for over 3 years at least. So it's one thing, crunching numbers is true breakfast of champions. Jordan Gill, Jereshia Hawk, y'all know how we get down. But it's just like you have got to keep that in mind. And again, there are things that you can be doing to accelerate your process, accelerate your progress through that journey. But one thing that I've shared this before about maybe like maybe like 7 months ago, but I created a corporate dropout timeline, and I mapped out the timeline over a 14-month period from when I had the idea of my business to when I actually started generating income to when I had my first 5-figure month. And I posted that here so you guys can actually download it if you want to see it. The other thing that you guys I'm going to be referencing to is my actual income reports, because I want you guys to also understand like how long does it really take to build a 6-figure business and I'm just going to talk about right now from idea that I have an idea for a business to when it actually starts setting you up to earning like that above $8,000 a month. But even in my corporate dropout timeline, month 0, I had this idea. About 3 months into me building my business, I was making a couple $100 a month. Okay. So about 3 months into my business, I was making on average about $400 a month. Month 6 into my business, I was still in like the $100 range. Like I might have had a month where I made $1,000, but it was more like this feast and famine type of thing, like this roller coaster ride of income. So it was like I might have made $1,000 this month, but then like $20 and then a $300. So it equaled out to about $400. So it was like for the first probably like 8 to 9 months of me playing around with this idea of what this business was, I was consistently making three figures, meaning somewhere in like the $100 range. And it didn't, the thing that catapulted me, the thing that really allowed me to get from like the $100 to the $1,000 was me actually like investing in somebody that knew more than what I knew. And this is what I'm talking about. What are the tools and the things that you can be doing to accelerate your success in business is one, like get a game plan, read a textbook, like Work with somebody who's done what it is that you're trying to do. And I think sometimes when we think about this online world and this online business, we're like, well, we don't want to pay for a coach. Or maybe we do recognize the value of paying for a coach, but then we have to decipher which coach we should pay for and being able to like evaluate all like their pricing and things like that in our head. But I want you to think about any other profession, right? Like I'm an engineer by trade. So y'all see my shirt? Trust me, I'm an engineer. But I'm an engineer by trade. In order for me to even get a job as an engineer, I had to go to school for 5 years and get a degree to get a piece of paper that even qualified me to apply for a job to earn income. So anybody here who has gone to college and is in whatever profession that you are in, how long did you have to prepare earning, meaning that you did not earn income? You were not generating a profit in your career profession before you got a salary. It's the same thing in business. So like I think about, it took me 6 years to get my degree because I started off in architecture, then switched to civil engineering. So I was in school for a total of 6 years in college before I ever got a salary to pay me for the thing that I was trying to build. If you're a doctor, Lord knows you're probably going to be in school for probably like 8 years before you get a salary that actually starts like paying back on that investment over the past 8 years. So on average, let's just say you go to school for 4 years. And like, thankfully for me, I was an engineer. They had paid internships. So I was able to start earning income, earning a revenue stream year 3 in my education. But most people are maybe in communications, maybe in design, maybe in fashion, maybe in nonprofit, maybe in whatever else you're in. Most people don't even have paid internships. So when you guys think about it like normal world, most people have to go and get an education, i.e. meaning like, what are you doing even in your business to equip you with the knowledge and the skill set to be able to do whatever it is you're trying to do in your business. And a lot of people are so excited to build a business, but they're really focused on the passion that they have and the problem that they want to solve. There's a huge difference between you being able to recognize your passion and the problem that you want to solve and being able to provide a service versus being able to run, operate, and maintain a business. Like, so you may be excellent in delivering the service and helping people get results, but you may need to be educated on how do you actually build the business to support the product or the service that you are selling. And so many people are sitting here like somebody came to me recently who's a dentist. They're phenomenal at dentistry. They went to school to learn how to be a dentist. They know how to actually like clean the teeth and provide the service and do the work. But school did not teach them how to build their own dentist practice. School did not teach them how to build their own business, how to manage their finances, how to set up their packages, how to do sales, how to make sure they're preparing for their taxes. Like school did not teach them the business aspect. They taught them how to do that unique skill. So you need to be thinking about that as well. Like when you're building your business, understand and be able to recognize that you may be phenomenal at providing the service, but you may need expert guidance and support on somebody to teach you how to run the business of what it is that you're doing. Like, does that make sense? You guys are kind of quiet in the comments today, so I'm assuming you guys are taking notes, but like, let me know either by throwing hearts on the screen or popping in the comments, like, is anything that I'm saying resonating with you? Because I think that's something that a lot of us get tripped up in when we're trying to build this 6-figure business. Nobody's taught you how to build the business yet. So many of us don't have access or are unaware of how to actually build the business of whatever our passion is. So you need to make sure that you're doing that. And maybe while you're stuck and maybe while you're struggling to earn income and maybe while you're stuck in regards to how do I grow is because nobody's taught you how to build the business side of what it is that you're doing. You may not have a solid business model. You may not have a strategy. You may lack the operational tech tools, software, and systems to support whatever the delivery of the product or service that it is that you're selling. And exactly, Asia, Google is a resource, y'all. Google is a resource. Google is not like a lawyer. Google is not a strategist. Google is a database where it is helpful to guide and direct you to where you can find resources, but like it's going to take you 15 times longer to get your answers by Googling and searching. Like sometimes, it's more, it really you need to evaluate opportunity cost. How much time, energy, money do you have available for said activity? And that's a whole other conversation, but I just want you guys to understand be able to identify where you're at in your business journey and really what's lacking in regards to helping you progress that next level. So like I said, it took me about 8 or 9 months. I had made probably about $6 grand within the first 9 months of me like testing out my idea. And then once I got clear on what it was that I actually wanted to build my business off of, that's when I decided to enroll in school, i.e. hire a coach to get the educational piece that I needed to take my idea to the next level. And so many of us are and I use education in school as the example because most of us can relate to that. If you're in the generation of, the millennials or older, we have been taught that you need to grow up, go to school, get a good education, go to college, then you get a job. Then you actually start to earn income. And I just want you guys to put it in that frame of reference that when you are building your business, just like it took me 5-6 years to get the qualifications, to get a salary, to actually start earning a profit on all that I was doing, like, are you willing to give your business 6 years before it starts really taking off and generating like that 6-figure salary that you were used to receiving in your corporate job? And some people here didn't even come out of school with a 6-figure salary. That's a fortunate or a luxury that few of us get to have. But are you willing to, let's say you were in school for 4 years, maybe you came out of school making 50 grand. Are you willing to build your business for 4 years before you make $50,000? Think about it from that frame reference and that point of view. And again, if you want to accelerate your success, if you want to accelerate the time frame in which it takes you to get to wherever it is you want to go work and go hire somebody, go get the degree, i.e. go work with somebody who's done what it is that you're doing so they can teach you how to do whatever it is that you're trying to do on the back end. So, because I get that businesses take time to earn profit. However, I have never built a business that did not generate profit in the first year. My business that I have now, Jereshia.com, this isn't the first business that I've built. So there's things that you can do to make sure that you are setting yourself up to actually start generating income. And it doesn't necessarily have to take you 5 years, 7 years, 15 years, or what have you. So after that, when I hit that 10-month mark, that's when I really pivoted and said, okay, you know what? I now know what degree I want to major in. Let me go enroll in school, i.e. hire a coach to help me accelerate my success. So when I got clear on what my business idea was going to be, that's when I decided to double down and actually start investing in education to make sure that, one, I was getting taught the right tools to build whatever it was that I was trying to build. But two, that I don't want to wait another 7 years trying to allow Google and use free resources to figure out what it is that I'm doing. I'm not trying to do all that. Because sometimes we don't think about, and I say this all the time, is you need to be able to evaluate the return on your investment and evaluate the opportunity cost. So some people Goal Getter Elite, for example, it's a high level mastermind. It's a 5-figure investment over the 9 months. There are payment plans available or what have you, but people say that's too much money. But when you really think about it, you might be, would you, let me just ask you this way. If somebody said that they'd be able to show you and be able to help you get a return on your investment and make $100,000, and in order for you to make that $100,000, all you have to do is invest 10%, meaning you have to pay $10,000, would you do it? Would you pay $10,000 to get the game plan, get the blueprint, to get your hand held basically to get you to 100,000? And most people, I would say yeah, I'll pay 10%. 10% is nothing. You can't get that type of return on your investment anywhere else. You can't go invest 10% in $10,000 and then in a year make back 100,000 in a stock, in a bond, in a CD, in a savings account. You can't get that type of ROI anywhere else. So when you are thinking about investing with a coach or investing in a program or hiring somebody to come in and support your business, think about don't get so fixated on that upfront cost. Make sure that you are evaluating what is a long-term return on my investment going to be. And when I started thinking like that, that's when everything changed for me. So I hired my first coach and that was a $3,500 investment. But I was able to make back that $3,500 before our coaching relationship was over. So I made back that full investment within 3 months. And then it's not now that I've used that investment, now that I've made that investment and hired that coach, that knowledge is now gone, that now that our relationship is over. No, I always have that in my toolbox, in my knowledge bank that I can continue to earn income on. So even though that $3,500 investment has made me well over $50,000 over the past year, Was it worth me paying $3,500 to learn the tools and techniques to be able to continuously generate income in my business? Like, hell yeah. So, and then like from there, I realized that was not the right business model I was trying to build. I hired another coach and I joined a coaching program, and it was like a summer mastermind program. And it was, I can't even remember. I think it was like $1,500, $2,000 a month I think it was like $1,500 a month that I was paying. And it's like, again, that was a huge chunk. That was more than my rent. That was more than double my rent at the time. And it's like, I'm about to pay somebody 2 months rent in 1 month for this service. But me paying $1,500 that month, in that same week, I made $10,000 in my business. So it's like I 10x'd my investment in week 1. And then like that investment that I made with her really allowed me to actually, like, that was the thing that allowed me to quit my job, because what she was able to teach me, and not even just teach me, but how me investing, how that made me level up, how that made me show up differently for myself. Because like if I told you right now, like, let's say you're trying to build a business that you want to make $20,000 this year. Your energy on how you even approach how you show up in the world is going to be completely different than if you're sitting here trying to go after a goal of making $200,000 a year this month in your business. You're going to show up differently. You're going to be thinking differently. You're going to be thinking bigger and beyond where you currently know is reality, versus if you're going after 200,000 versus you going after 20,000. So like sometimes the investment isn't even fully about who it is that you're investing in. Like that is a very important component. But sometimes the investment is solely just for you to actually show up in a greater capacity for yourself than you have showed up for yourself before. So like me investing in that, it was $1,500 a month, which was the most I had ever, that was more than my rent, y'all. But that thing was the thing that allowed me to create a program that made over $60,000 in sales 2 months later. And that $60,000 chunk was the thing that allowed me to quit my job. And I have not made less than $9,000 in my business since last June. So it's like, were those, like, people would say like those investments are hefty, those investments are scary. Like, hell yeah, it's scary to like step fully in your purpose. I get that it's scary for you to invest in a coach or in a course or in a program or in another person, but like those types of investments, not only in other people, but those investments in yourself are the thing that allow you to accelerate your success, because no longer are you sitting here like guessing at what you should be doing on Google. You are getting a proven strategy and a proven process done by somebody who's done it for themselves and is able to get results for other people to accelerate your timeline. So yes, you could keep going at it by yourself and be in the game for like another 10 years trying to get to 6 figures. Or it's like you can start investing strategically, and not only in yourself, but in other people to help you move forward through your journey. So I say all this to say, like, so I was testing out ideas for the first like 9 months. And then after the 9-month mark, I started investing in a coach and investing in courses and programs. And that's when my income really started to exponentially increase. So then I started making 4 figures a month, around $2,000. A couple months later, I started making about $6,500 a month. And then about 9 months later, I was at the point where I was consistently bringing in 5 figures a month. So when I made the decision, once I knew my business idea and I made the decision that, Jay, I don't want it to be 7 years before I hit 6 figures. I don't want to be 7 years before I hit $1 million. Like, I want to start experiencing radical transformation and like exponential growth on a faster timeline. But one, I'm also willing to do what is required to get that result. I'm willing to show up and do the work. I'm willing to show up and make the investments. I'm willing to show up as a business owner, as a CEO, and take the risk. Which I think sometimes when people who are building business, they forget that there is risk associated with building a business. That you have to be more confident and certain in the decisions that you're making, because they are risk. And it's good risk and bad risk. And at the end of the day, I don't believe anything is failure. Like, I just don't believe in failure. I believe that everything is an opportunity for me to learn and grow. So I don't really get hung up sometimes. I'm human. I still feel it, but that's how I try to view it. So there's still risk that you have to take, but you need to also evaluate the risk of you not making a decision, which so many of us forget to do. So it's like, well, do I want to invest in this program that's $13,000? I don't know if I want to make that financial risk. But what if that $13,000 investment is the thing that gives you the tool and shifts your mindset so now you can make $500,000 this year? What is the risk associated by you not making that decision? And I've like actually went through and evaluated, like if I were to look back and I didn't make the investment in my coaching program that I'm in now, or the coaching program that I did that allowed me to really start pivoting and getting to like that 6-figure mark, or the coaching program that I did to even start helping me make the first $2,000, like though I'd say there's probably about $20,000 to $30,000. I'd say more than $20,000 out of investments, $25,000 I've invested in my business, in other people, like in coaches or mastermind groups. If I want to drop that 20 grand, I wouldn't have been at the point where I was able to make over 6 figures in 6 months, literally in my business. That $20,000 was totally worth the $149 that I made last year. So you guys have got to be able to shift your mindset, if that's the thing that's getting sticky for you, and understand like really what does it take and how long does it take for you to get there. Your time frame is one dependent on God and the journey that he has out for you, but you can be derailing your process and your progress because of your inability to make a decision, your inability to take risks, your inability to move beyond your fears and your limiting beliefs. You might be the one that's stalling your process. You might be the one derailing you from the road to getting you to that 6-figure success. It might be you. And maybe like, and this is why I always say like, you need to be operating from a space of discernment and be able to recognize like, is this my fear driving the vehicle right now, or is my faith guiding my path? And you need to be able to understand who's in the driver's seat. Because if you keep making decisions based off of fear, you are never going to get to your destination. And it's like, you have to understand that like every day I operate knowing that I have fear. Every day I operate being uncomfortable. Every day I operate not knowing exactly what the outcome is going to be. But I also am a firm believer that like what God has for me and what this business is, because I know it is divine purpose that I'm operating in. If he gave me the vision, he also prepared me and gave me the tools to be able to manage and maintain what he has for me. And I'm a firm believer in that. Like God would not give you the vision if he also did not equip you with what you needed to go out and do it. And sometimes what I mean by equip you means it may not all be in you. Like he may equip you with the people that are in your circle, the opportunities that have been presented to you. Like understand that nothing happens by accident. Like if you're getting opportunities in your inbox and you know it's speaking to your spirit, but fear is the thing driving your decision, check yourself. Like one, get in prayer, ask God to make it clear, make it plain for you what it is that you need to be doing and what the next best step is for you. So like, I say all that. I know I'm getting a little preachy, but like, I would say, you know, it takes time to get to that success mark. And one, like be clear on what does success even mean for you. I think we all define success completely differently. And like, sometimes you may be judging your journey and your path based off of a foggy and hazy definition of what the destination even is. So get clear on what your aim and what your goal is. Get clear on what success means for you, and make sure that you are setting yourself in alignment with the tools, resources, the people that you need to be in place with to help you progress along your journey. Like people, you cannot build this stuff alone. And it's ludicrous for you to think like if I were trying to become an engineer, I wouldn't just wake up one day and say I'm about to be an engineer and start going out and digging in the dirt. No, I had to go to school to learn how to be an engineer. I had to go to school to learn like the physics and the math and the calculus and the fluid dynamics and all this other stuff to equip me with the skill set so I could be a good engineer before I ever was able to earn any income. You know, if you wanted to go be a doctor, you wouldn't just roll up at the hospital and start open heart surgery on somebody. Like, no, it takes time for you to perfect your craft. And like so many of us building these businesses think that we can do it alone. And I'm just letting you know, you are literally setting yourself up for failure. Like literally. And for those who are experts in their area, understand that a brain surgeon cannot do surgery on himself or on herself. I'm really good at strategy. I'm really amazing at helping individuals see beyond what they currently know as reality. You know, help them 4Xing their revenue, helping them create a game plan and giving them the tools they need to go execute. But sometimes I struggle on that exact thing for myself. Hence why I'm in programs and I'm in mastermind groups and I look at outside guidance to help me. You can't see yourself when you show up in the world. So it's hard for you to be able to like distinguish and see your own blind spots because you're in it. This is why it's so important for you to have other people in that you're in community. whether that's with a coach or a coaching program or whatever else. Like, you're not going to be able to do surgery on yourself. So I just wanted to say that, because I know that's been coming up. People are like, well, I'm really good at this, I can do this for other people. It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do it at the level that you're able to execute for others for yourself. And the only other thing I wanted to point out was, like, so when it comes to your timeline, I'd say it took me about 9 months from at a point where I was making like $600 a month in my business to get me to a point where I was making 5 figures and more. So 10,000 plus. It took me 9 months to do that. So I know people have been asking, well, Jay, with Goal Getter Elite specifically, you say you're able to help people get to that 6-figure mark. And that is very true. So it took me about 9 months to go from making $600 a month to making $10,000 a month plus. I'd say, but the requirements, or even for Goal Getter Elite, and if you look on the testimonial page, on the praise page, you'll see Takora's story and Natalia's story. You'll see other individuals on there. They were able to do it in a quicker time frame than I was even able to do it. So if you're at a point in your business where you're making 4 figures a month, meaning you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, it is not ludicrous to sit here and say that you can build that $2,000 to $3,000 a month to getting you to a point where you're making $8,000 to $10,000 a month consistently in a 6-month time frame. So I'm just giving you guys that as other resources and points of reference for maybe where you're at right now and where you could be. And I know even in a previous Facebook Live, I posted the 6-figure framework that I teach, which is the core curriculum of Goal Getter Elite, which gives you guys a very clear breakdown of how to get to that $10,000 mark, how to get to $50,000, and how do we get to $100,000, because it's not just as simple as taking $100,000 and dividing it by 12. It's really like a ramp up process that happens. So I went from making $600 a month to $2,000 a month to $4,000 to $8,000 to $12,000. It ramped up. It wasn't like I went from making $600 a month to the next month I was making $9,000. And it's not to say that that's not possible, but I'm just saying that there's other ways, there's other vehicles that you can take to still get you to that destination. So I hope that this is resonating. Because I know people have been saying, because I said this last night on the Facebook Live, but I remember telling Jordan, like, girl, I hate when these marketers are out here teaching and saying, I built a 6-figure business in 6 months. I'm like, that's complete BS. Like, that's just some marketing headlines they're throwing out there to woo me. I'm like, I don't believe it. Like, I hate that they do that. And then I did it. And here I am saying, like, I was able to make 6 figures in 6 months. And it sounds like such a marketing tool. This is why I like show my receipts. Because it's really what happened. And it's like I've been able to develop a process, which we teach in Goal Getter Elite specifically. And we have talked about this over the past few weeks, what that framework is and what that looks like on how to help other people do the same. But that all goes back to understanding, like, the road to riches, it takes time. Like, it is nothing that is going to just happen overnight. But there are things that you can be doing to accelerate your process, to accelerate your growth trajectory, if you're willing to show up and do the work required to make it happen. Okay? Like, so all those caveats need to be true. Just because you pay a coach doesn't mean that you're like just intuitively like, I bought the coach, I get the business. You still have to do the work. You still have to show up and put in the work and build the business and do all the things. Like, you still have to do the things, but they're just teaching you, like, instead of you taking this one path that Garmin navigation, that GPS tells you, I'm going to give you all the loopholes and the shortcuts, in the sense that, like, you're learning the strategies without having to figure them out on your own. And sometimes us figuring out lessons on our own can take longer. And then you being able to learn through somebody else's journey can accelerate your process. So it's not like you're skipping steps. You're just not having to go through 7 failures or 7 mishaps doing it on your own. You can just learn from my mistakes. So I'm hoping that resonates. So for those of you guys who are at a point in your business, either you're a full-time business owner or you're at a point where you've been able to make 4 figures a month, and you are ready to start experiencing radical transformation, you are ready to get to a point where you're making 6 figures in the next 9 months. So before the end of February, you want to be at 6 figures or above 6 figures in your business. I invite you to go and apply for Goal Getter Elite. Applications close on the 23rd. So on Friday, I'm closing the application door down. I know there's a lot of you deadline dancers out there who are just waiting for the last second. I just encourage you. It's like a 5-question, 6-question application to submit your application and schedule a call with me so we can discuss whether or not this is the best next step for you, and understand that that's all my role is. My role as Jereshia Hawk, as an individual who's running and operating a business, is to help you make a decision. So that's all I'm trying to do, is to guide you and be able to support you in figuring out what that next best decision is for you, whether that's joining Goal Getter Elite or whether that's me referring you out to somebody else. But go and submit your application, because I'm going to be like, this program is one that is amazing. One, changed my life. Two, has changed other people's lives. And so this is for people who are content creators, online experts, coaches, and consultants. If you are a product-based business, but you want to start selling services, let's talk. So if you're a product-based business, like I know like Marcy here, she says I'm a product-based business. If you're at that point where you sell products, but you want to pivot and actually add in a service component to your business model, this will work for you. This is definitely not designed for like somebody who's in e-commerce who just wants to be better at e-commerce, or somebody who has a brick and mortar who wants to be better at brick and mortar. But maybe you have an e-commerce business and you want to teach other people how to run an e-commerce business. Or maybe you have a brick and mortar and you want to coach or consult other people how to start their brick and mortars, or how to coach and consult a specific aspect of what it is that you do. Fill out the application and let's at least talk. If you are a product-based business and you're like, Jay, I still want to work with you, I want like you to help me develop a strategy, I do one-day intensives. So we can set up a one-day intensive, which I've been able to do with a couple people where Goal Getter Elite was not a good fit. But I'll be honest with you. Like, I'll tell you, like, this is not a good fit for you. You either need to be, let's work in another container, or let me actually refer you to somebody else. So Marcy, if that resonates with you, again, still apply and put that in your application, and we can hop on the phone and talk. Asia said, do you do one-on-one meetings so you can learn about the payment plans and how to actually use you and make it work for our budget? So I will say that I have programs and offerings anywhere from I have stuff anywhere from $49 up into $14,000. So I have products and offerings that range the full gamut. Goal Getter Elite is definitely a high-level investment. Like, it's a 5-figure investment. There are payment plans available for that program. But it's over $1,000 a month. And that's just me being frank. So if you're not at a place in your business where you're generating consistent income, or you are ready to make that investment because you know you're going to show up and do the work required to get that result, Goal Getter Elite might not be the best fit. But again, I would still recommend that you apply and submit an application. And I can look at your application and we can discuss if there is another product in my service suite that can support you for where you're at. So we have, there's the business breakthrough workshop that I did, that's $49. Fearless with Facebook is $297. Fuck Fixed Income is going to be opening up enrollment next month. That's $1,500. I have one-day intensives, and then I have Goal Getter Elite. So there's things that range. But again, if you need help trying to figure out what's the best fit for you, just shoot me over an email, or really just submit an application. Because if I know where your business is at, I can actually give you a better answer of where you should be at and what I have in my service suite that can support you. Fear is not your friend. Fear keeps you stagnant. Yeah. One thing that I was listening to a sermon today, and I want to leave you guys on this, is when the devil cannot destroy, he will distract. When the devil cannot destroy, he will distract. So one thing a lot of us can, and this actually stopped somebody from joining my coaching program, accelerator coaching program, a couple months ago, was the devil was distracting her. And she knew in her heart that she should join the program. She knew in her heart that she was ready to step into her purpose in a larger capacity. She knew in her heart that she was ready to take that next step. But what happened? The devil couldn't stop the purpose that God gave her. The devil couldn't destroy what he had placed in her heart. But so he started to distract her. The day that she was going to make her first payment for my program, her water boiler, her hot water heater bursted. And the exact amount of money she was going to pay to join my program, she had to pay to fix her water heater. And she was really conflicted about it. She's like, I was ready. I was about to sign up. And then this distraction happened. And even just yesterday, I was listening to a sermon where it said, when the devil cannot destroy, he will distract. So again, this all goes back to operate from a space of discernment when you are making the decisions. And sometimes when you are stepping into unfamiliar territory, meaning that you are at a point where you're at this level and you are progressing and trying to level up and take that next step to the next level, it is normal for you to feel fear. It is normal for you to be uncomfortable. It is normal for you to be uncertain in the sense that, like, this doesn't feel safe, because you are stepping into new territory. Like, and that's very, very normal. But also understand that the devil is busy out here too. And when he cannot destroy, he will distract. So be able to understand when things are coming up in your world that is distracting you from really pursuing your purpose. And that's why I say for anybody, whether you're joining my programs or trying to work with somebody else or whatever decision it is that you're trying to make, pray about it first. Like, God is the CEO of my business. I talk to him about everything. Like, Lord, make it clear, make it plain, whatever it is that I should be doing. Help give me the wisdom and discernment to manage and maintain the abundance that you have for me and the abundance that is to come. Help me make the next best decision. But you guys have got to be checking yourself to make sure that fear is not the one driving your vehicle. Or is it the devil trying to distract you from what your purpose really is? So when she said that to me, that's what rang true in my heart. I said, the devil is distracting you. Because she knew, she's like, I know that this is for me. I know that this is for me. And even there was a lady who just joined Goal Getter Elite a couple days ago. And she filled out the application, and on the application, she straight up said, like, I don't have the money for this program, but I know that this is exactly what I need to help me get to the next level in my business. So I said, let's still hop on the call. Let's still talk it through. Let's still just see what the next best decision is for you. And at first she was like, I don't know. Like, the program is literally more than my mortgage. You know, like I'm kind of a self-development junkie. I buy all these courses and I buy all these programs and I really haven't got the results that I'm looking for. But I know based off of you, my trust that I have for you, Jereshia, and based off of what you're going to be teaching, this is exactly where my gaps are. This is exactly what I need to get me to the next level. And she's like, let me think about it. So then she went and talked to her husband about it. And her husband was like, baby girl, honey, this program payment is more than my mortgage. More than our mortgage. So I'm going to tell you yes, but you need to go make that money back before the 1st. And we haven't even got on our pre-program alignment call yet, but she was not allowing the distractions of the devil to distract her from what God had placed on her heart for what she should do next. So she got into the program, and when you get into Goal Getter Elite, you get access to all of my courses and programs in my suite. So she started diving into FFI, and just through like the homework assignments, before she even fully finished module 1, she said she was able to get like another 50 new email subscribers and actually get somebody bought one of her products, and it's only been a few days. And it's just like, it's amazing what happens when you do not allow fear to be the thing driving your vehicle. She got into rapid momentum and rapid action, was able to actually start generating income before the program has even started. So, and I mean, there's countless examples of when that happened. Like if you guys go on, let me post this too again, because if you go watch Takora's video, a very similar thing happened with her. You know, she was able to was making about $3,000 to $4,000 a month in her business. We had an initial call to talk about what she needs to be doing in her business strategy before the program started. She was able to like 3x her income within the first month or so before the program even started. It's like, and I know Takora's on here watching, but it's like you made back the investment of the program before the program even started. So it's just like, understand that when you make investments, you have to, and I'll leave you guys on this. I keep saying I'm gonna leave you on this. I've been listening to some sermons, and it's really been like, I've been having a lot of revelation from it. But think about, people say, even in dating, that when we were kids, let me know if you guys grew up the way that I grew up. And this, I can't remember the name. I don't even know the guy's name who posted this, but if you want to know, just DM me later. I'll find it out. But he was like, think about how we grew up thinking about love and relationships. You know, it's like, Jereshia and Johnny sitting in a tree, KISSING. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby in the baby carriage, right? Anybody else like familiar with that little, like, that was probably our first introduction to being taught what love and relationship looks like. And when you really look at scripture, it's really, and it's funny, I literally was listening to this morning, and I think this resonates with what I'm about to say, and I'll leave you guys on this. Is when you think about dating and courting and building a relationship, first you're single, then there's intentional dating, then there's engagement, then there's marriage, and then comes love. The love comes after you've made the commitment. And the same thing happens in business. The increase in the profit and the income comes after you've made the commitment by making the investment in yourself to do what's required to get it. And when he said that, I had to like rewind the video and be like, what you mean love comes after marriage? Like, aren't you supposed to be in love with the person before you get married? Like, isn't that how it's supposed to work? And then the thing that he said that like I flipped out was like, think about your relationship with God. How much did you love God before you actually like got in covenant with him? Your love grew for him after you decided to commit your life to him. After you decided to be in covenant relationship with God, that's when your love was able to expound and grow. Love happens after the marriage. The same thing happens with your love for Christ. It happens after you've made the commitment. And it's just like, that is so like, one, I didn't know that about relationships, but when he said that about Jesus, like, he's like, after you, think about even, it's just like, that blew my mind. And I'm not sure, like, that blew my mind. But then I think about that, and I know God uses my business as a vehicle to develop my relationship with him. So every time I'm listening to scripture, I'm constantly having revelations about business. And that's just what naturally happens for me. That's how God speaks to me though. But I think about every time I made an investment in my business, the increase, the love happened after I made the investment. And then I look at my clients and my students, and it's like they weren't able to see the increase until after they made the investment in themselves. After they believed it to be true, they made the decision to commit to whatever it was, whether that's committing to my program or enrolling in a course or enrolling in whatever. And then they showed up and did the work required to develop that relationship, to implement and execute what I was teaching. And then the increase happened. So I want you guys to think about, find proof in your life. When did you have to make the commitment first before you started to see like the increase after? And just think about anything that you've gone through in life. Like, when was that true for you? So I'm going to leave you guys on that. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was insightful. I hope that what I share with you today, that you at least got a nugget from it. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. Like, let me know, what was your number one takeaway from what you heard today? For anybody here who has been enticed by Goal Getter Elite, who is thinking about Goal Getter Elite, who just wants to have an additional conversation about, is that the next best step for them? I encourage you to visit bit.ly/GGE application, fill out an application, schedule a call with me, and let's talk about it. If you have questions, send me an email, like whatever, let me know where you're struggling and let's talk about it. Like that's just what I want to leave you with. Okay. Like, getting to 6 figures is not absurd. Like, one, I didn't believe that it could be true for me before, but now that I'm living it, like, it's not crazy to think that you're allowed to have increase. That, like, if God has placed that vision on your heart, he will also equip you to actually go make it happen. So anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I hope that this Facebook Live served you and supported you and where you need it, that it spoke to you for where you're at right now. If this was good for you, feel free to share the video so your followers and your friends can also catch the word today. If you are, again, enticed to think about, want to learn more about, and want to know if Goal Getter leads the next best step for you, click the link in the title of this Facebook Live. I posted a link in the comments, and I look forward to seeing your application and actually talking to you on the phone. So I will chat with you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Make it great. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye, y'all.